email to one of my clients, and they've actually asked for something a little bit more luxurious. So what we're doing today is I'm giving them some height, some width, and I'm gonna overspill it. So once this goes on their entrance, it'll have that little bit more drama to it. So I thought I'd take you along and I'd show you how I do this. So I've chosen some very specific flowers. I'm trying to keep it in a really spring, light, happy vibe. The corporate subscription has the aesthetic. So the company has that vibe to it. So we're sticking with that. So I've chosen to go with some pink and white disbuds, some wax flower. I've got some two types of chrysanthemums. They're both on the smaller size. And one of these has the green center, where the other one's just plain purple. So I've got that on this side, and then I've got a variety of gerbera. I think they are so beautiful. They scream spring, summer, happy vibes. So I went with that, and I wanted to complement it because it has got that really beautiful pink and yellow center. I wanted to complement that. So I've chosen a smaller gerbera, but I've gone the opposite. I've gone the yellow, and then it's got the like a blush peach center. So I thought that was really cute. And then of course I couldn't go by like past that. That is just so damn cute. And I think the three just work delightfully. So these will be more my focus flower, my line flower, and then I'll have fillers with greenery, the disbuds, and I've also chosen to put a pop of white in there just to brighten it up that little bit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of the pink rose, and I'm just using the very heads. I've cut the stems off, and I'm just going to use those as I trail those down. So, all right, let's get started. So what we want to do first, I've gone ahead, I've wet and soaked up that foam, and now I've wet this one, and I'm just going to cut this, and I'm just going to place it in my container. Okay, so we just want to cut that in half. So just so you can see, it's nice and wet, and I'm just going to place that in there like so. Because these are nice and long, these stems, I went for a long container so I can really keep the height on these. What I like to do first when I'm doing a piece like this, I like to actually start with my foliage, work that in, and then obviously have my flowers positioned throughout. So I'm going to move those out and bring these ones in, starting with this lovely wax flower. Now you can get these in the white, you can get it in a soft pink, you can get it in a yellow, you can get it almost in a, I'd like to say a lilac. It's more lilac to me. Others might say it's just another shade of pink, but I see a bit more purple in it than pink. So you can get this in quite a few colors. Now these I've already prepped, conditioned, but I wanted to keep them in the rubber bands only until I was doing this tutorial, only because they, when you've got so much going on there, they get lost, they get tangled up, and I just didn't want to bother with that. So I kept them tied with their rubber band, just so I can just make my life a little easier. All right, so all we want to do is start placing these in. Mind you, these have all been pre-cut. I'm not going to be cutting a lot of these because I'm trying to keep the height as much as I can. Some I'll have to chop down still, even though they have been pre-cut. I always like to chop again. So I'm just working my way around. So just finishing off this filler. And mind you, that was just this one little bunch that I've grabbed, in which I've used. I haven't used like too much of this. I will fill it with the ruscus. And And so that will hide all our inner mechanics. Okay, moving on to the ruskers. The same thing, I kept the rubber bands on, which I will pull off now. These were all pre-cut, so that's made my life really easy. And all we want to do is start filling through the bottoms. Through the bottoms. We really want to make sure we're covering the mechanics up. We can never hand anything off that has exposed mechanics. Okay. And spinning that back around again, popping that through the sides, and I'm going to use a little bit more of the wax flower. Okay, now that that's done and filled, I think what we'll do is we'll start putting in those gerberas. I think for the most of this, I might actually tuck that in just so that I can move this a little easier, and then I'll come back to filling and working on the front. But that's looking pretty nice and full right around, and we will throw some more in, so we will cover a little bit more of that inner side in. All right, let's pop some white ones through.
Your smile lit up like a sunrise glow. Touch so soft where the seasons
nice
flow.
And light and airy so that our flowers can breathe. We want our flowers to get enough air in them so that they can breathe. Just imagine this was in the garden and these were growing naturally in this pot. We would want enough air in between that the butterflies could flutter between them. Okay, lucky last white one going in through this side. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Okay, I think we should add the pink through now. So starting with that, I'm still going to keep these nice and tall. I don't really want to cut these down too much. I'm loving the length on it and I really want to use that. So I've kept the pink, I've kind of kept the pink sort of clustering. And then I'll spread these up through the back so it's nice and even. So we get some pops of colour coming from every angle. The only thing with gerberas, you sometimes have to wire them. They do like to droop from the head because the head is so top heavy. So that's the only thing with gerberas. You often will have to wire them. Sometimes I don't mind when they have that natural droop because I just feel that it makes them look so natural. They don't look too tall and stiff. But in a lot of bridal work, you would definitely have to wire them up. Last thing you want is your flowers drooping on a wedding day. Probably not a good look. Okay, now I think we're going to use these lovely little beautiful butter ones. They just look like, they just look like little happy faces to me.
Your smile lit up like like a sunrise glow. Touch so soft where the seasons flow. We met where the stars take their
Just want
flight.
to fan it around so you can see the front while I work on the back. Just scattering some more just through the backs. My little happy faces, because that's what they remind me of. Little happy faces. How cute. And now we've got these guys. How gorgeous are they? All right, time to put these ones in. Cutting these ones down that little bit more, only because I want to sort of get them a bit closer to the base. A little bit closer to the base. Oh geez, they're just gorgeous, aren't they? Have a look at that, guys. When you work with really beautiful varieties, it just, you know, it takes a lot of the hard work out. I'll tell you what, you still got to sort of have that vision within your head, but when you work with beautiful flowers, they just do their own thing as well. It doesn't take much to make it look pretty. It really doesn't. And now what I'd like to see is I'd like to see some of the disc buds go in, just to give it that point of difference now. And again, I'm keeping them quite long. I'm not chopping them down that much. Don't forget, this has to have some kind of a wow factor. It's a corporate subscription, so it's going in a big business. And so therefore, it needs to have a bit of a, it needs to have a little bit of lux to it because it's in the grand foyer. And they've specifically asked for it to be on that larger scale as well. So well, let's keep it nice and large. And one more pink disc bud. And I think that's quite pretty. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to gently through the bottoms, I'm going to add in that pink rose. So that way we can actually start to trail this down. I want to move all that out the way. I might dry cloth it actually, only because I really want you to see this effect that it's going to have now. So once I start putting those pink roses through, you'll start to see that effect that it's going to have. So let me just position this right. Okay, and so what we want to do is I want to move this back ever so, and we're going to start trailing, just like that. All right. Using some really short stem garden roses. These are already pre-cut. I'm not going to cut them. I don't need to. I need to keep that little bit of length on them just so that I've got enough length to get them through. Now I won't be able to span this around at the end because once I feel this, I don't really want to move it, but I can assure you that the back and the front all look the same. So I'm going to work from this side too. Lightly pop those in, but what I want to do is I actually want to put a little bit of foliage in this just because I think it looks more, it just looks prettier when you've got some greenery coming out of it as well. On a corporate subscription, which will go out to one of my lovely clients. And yeah, have a go. Play with color, play with texture, play with different size flowers. I'd love to see if you've got any of your own creations, send them across. I'd love to see them. If you have any questions, put them down below. I'll always get back to you. And stick around because in the next few tutorials we will be playing with something really creative. I will be bringing a model in for this one that I'm doing. So I'm not saying it all. You'll have to stick around and see what comes next. Tap the bell, follow along if you haven't already, subscribe, and have an awesome week. And I will see you back here in the studio really soon. And I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Bye guys.